to have your company again. It's Hot Topics time with some of the issues that mothers, women, people want to talk about. This morning I'm joined by Dannielle Miller, Tracey Spicer, Kittson. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, children, babies, and their right to know their father, because this has been brought up. Mad Men star January Jones, she's really setting everybody on fire in Hollywood because she was refused to name the father of her unborn child, and apparently he's not going to be in the picture. Don't know whether he knows or not either. But a lot of people have done that, and it also is on the back of a very big case in New South Wales at the moment, where a child who has known her biological father for 9 years, he was the sperm donor, he is about to be stripped, or his name will be taken off the birth certificate because of retrospective legislation. So he has constant contact with this 9-year-old girl, has been very much a part of her life, and now, because the mother has entered another relationship with another woman, they want to take his name off and not give him rights. So what is the right of a child to know their father? Dannielle, from your experience?
Look, I think it's so important that children have a sense of identity and that they know their family history. Now, in the case of the Hollywood star, I would hope that the father does know and that the child will know. Perhaps she's just keeping it private from the paparazzi, which is, of course, her right. But it is so important. But not from what I gather. This one's specific where she knows who the father is, and at this stage we don't think the father's going to have anything to do with it. What do you think, Tracey?
Look, I think not only from an emotional perspective, but a medical perspective. A lot of cancers and illnesses and diseases these days have a genetic basis. So if the child doesn't know who their biological father is, they have no idea what they might be predisposed to later in life. So I think it's dreadful.
What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of women keep the identity of the father a secret, especially if they're married to someone else. They often do. And also they might even keep it a secret from the father, because although a child will be a relative for life, a father may be a complete stranger you woke up next to. But they are always going to, the children eventually will want to know who the father is.
If we could focus perhaps on the guy who is having his name taken off, and this is retrospective. I mean, he has had a relationship, for all intents and purposes, been terrific. He's been supportive. It is a tough one.
Too. He's had a financial responsibility. Apparently you can only have 2 parents on a birth certificate, not 3. So the judge was apparently very sorry he had to wipe his name off. But you can only have 2 parents on it. So I think with all these changing of family dynamics and how, you know, parents will change, but not biological parents, that there should be room to have a biological parent.
Yeah, and I've got to say, retrospective legislation is another issue altogether, but we wish them all the very best. Now, I'm fascinated to get your view on this American woman. What do you reckon? Only in America story? Here she is. This woman has got a goal. Her goal is going to be the fattest woman ever. She's aiming to be 730 kilos in 10 years' time. She's currently 330. She wants to be 700 and something. Her 2 sons are 16 and 12. What the?
She won't be alive in 10 years'
role modelling, and she'll be dead, exactly. But what's even worse is you can get onto her website and pay to watch her sit on people and squash them. Apparently it's a fetish. I mean, the whole thing is just sick from start to finish.
There is another woman we talked about a couple of weeks ago who, on the internet, people pay her to watch her eat. And again, there you go, this is this woman also in America. Now, again, let's get back to the kids. You just wonder, what hope in life?
Our kids have so much pressure on them about weight. I just hate the whole focus on weight and eating. The government scare campaigns that talk about BMIs and pinch tests, they are going to lead to an epidemic of eating disorders for our children. They so disturb our children.
We've discussed it so many times, Dannielle. What do you think? I mean, we look at the photograph of her 2 boys there, 16 and 12. To be quite frank, they look like normal, terrific kids, you know, 2 kids, 1 dog. They look as if they're coping with this well. What do you think might go on in the next 10 years for them?
Oh, it's absolutely staggering, and I think, Jean, you're spot on. I mean, we really do have a very dysfunctional relationship with food at the moment as a culture. Even though we know eating disorders are on the increase, more alarmingly, I find generally we have very disordered patterns of eating. And what the woman here is really engaging in is a very disordered pattern of eating. It is terrible role modelling for her children, and it shows that as a culture we just have lost touch with our bodies and what really nourishes us.
What sort of goal is it to be 700 kilos?
Well, it's your 5 minutes of fame, but at what price?
It's ridiculous. Can I just say, though, I really want to make this point about these BMI testing and pinch testing that they're bringing into schools. They are more damaging to our kids than supermodels or magazines, because these government messages, these scare campaigns of food are delivered in the classroom by teachers who children trust. So it's this constant focus on weight and size. Has this happened in your family? Yeah, it has. They did a weight. A teacher in my child's school years ago now, weighed everyone in the class.
No.
I spoke to a parent recently whose daughter is suffering from an eating disorder at the moment, and that was the trigger for that was when her PE teacher asked her to weigh herself in front of the rest of the class and then told her that she was overweight.
I am gobsmacked they could do that. No, in fact, Kerri-Anne at 9.com.au, you know, I would really like your input. Has that happened in your school with your children? Hey, this actually leads to our next issue. Here is a book. It's going to be released in October. Maggie Goes on a Diet. Now, it is aimed between 6 and 14-year-olds. It is written by an Hawaiian guy, author, who, it's a story of Maggie, who's 14, who is a large girl, overweight, who's a bit insecure and goes on a diet. What's our view here?
Oh, this is wrong on so many levels. It's aimed at 6-year-olds, for goodness sake.
6 to 14-year-olds.
Yeah, but even 14-year-olds, we've got to get away from these words diet and weight, and we've got to focus on healthy eating. It's not about losing weight or gaining weight, it's about health.
It is about health, and you can be healthy at any size. Just because you're thin doesn't mean you're healthy. We know that many thin people, you know, may be living on cigarettes and adrenaline and caffeine. We really, as a culture,
let's take it back to Maggie Goes on a Diet, a 14-year-old who is clearly big. At what stage do you say to said 14-year-old, you're too big?
You're too big. Well, you don't. You can say, are you happy about, you know, are you a healthy weight? You can talk about, are you feeling healthy?
Obesity is an epidemic we're about to engage
Well,
in.
I don't believe it is an epidemic either. I think there are different cultures who have different sizes.
I don't know where you've been shopping, Jean, but let me tell you, I believe obesity in this country, let alone America, is going to be an epidemic.
You know, I work in schools every week, and I can honestly tell you that I see very few girls who I think are oversized. What I do see are a generation of young girls who are incredibly anxious about their body size. We know that body image is the #1 issue for young girls in this country, and encouraging them from 6 to think that they need to be dieting is ridiculous. As a family,
coming home to the family, good healthy eating habits.
Role modelling.
We do have to go, Tracy. I'm sure you'll understand. Thank you very much, Dannielle, as always. Jean, wonderful. We've got more coming up, but this is for you.